This is life lesson 45. Don't be envious. Today, I'm going to give you some top tips of how to deal with envy and how to eliminate that from your life. But first, let me explain something. We need to deal with what envy isn't. And most people I come across mix up envy with jealousy. And they're very two similar feelings. But let me explain the difference between the two. Jealousy is when you've got something and you fear someone taking it away from you. So a classic example of that would be your partner is being chatted up by someone else and you're jealous that they might take them away from you. Envy is something that someone else has got that you want. And that could well be possessions or even qualities. They may be doing things that you would love to be doing but are not. Envy is when someone has something that you want and you're envious of them. And that invokes very similar feelings to jealousy, but they are very, very, very different. So what causes us to be envious of other people? And it may not be outward, it could well be inward. Some people are quite vocal about it. And with this world we live in today, the social media world, where everyone's posting their great achievements online, posting their cars and their homes and their lifestyles, their holidays. It's understandable why some people do get envious. But we have to understand where envy comes from. What makes us envious of somebody else? And there's usually some underlying issues that we need to address in ourselves, because it's usually because we're lacking in our life. Now, whether we're lacking in resources, whether we're lacking in opportunities, or whether we're lacking in performance is another thing. But the question you need to ask yourself when you feel envious is, what's going on here? And this comes to my point about dealing with envy. How do you deal with it and how do you get rid of it and eliminate it from your life? Well, it's a fairly simple process. The first is to recognize it in the first place. When you feel that I'm feeling a little bit envious, when you get them feelings for someone else, ask yourself this question: what's causing me to feel envious? And it might be something as simple as they've had wonderful opportunities. So when we're envious of someone, we just have to acknowledge that sometimes people have gone through hardship to get where they are. They've had to give something up, or they've had to perhaps sacrifice something in order to obtain it. And then we look at ourselves and think, are we prepared to make them sacrifices ourselves? Because anything that comes to anybody else very easily looks on the surface to be easy, but there could be in the background some sacrifices going on, you're not realizing it. So when we ask that question of why we're feeling envious, then take a look inwards and say, okay, so what do I need to do? If I want to eliminate this feeling of envy, what do I need to do? What can I do? And you may have to realign your goals or your ambitions or your aspirations or your objective. You may have to revisit some things and decisions that you made many years ago that took you to a different path, and accept that's a decision they made that you didn't. Perhaps appreciating what we do have rather than what we don't have. So instead of focusing on lack, we focus upon what we do have and be grateful for that. Because we've all got things we can be grateful for. We've all got things in our lives that are good. We sometimes don't see them. And someone else is swanning around in a lifestyle that you really envy, but by making a few adjustments in your own life, you may well be on the road to success without too much effort. Sometimes just making small changes can make big difference. You might be envious of someone else's body, right? They've worked hard to get. There's a sacrifice for someone who's ripped in the gym, if you're a male, or someone who's parading around like a model. They might be going without the food that you enjoy. I mean, I have to watch my weight. If I don't watch it, then I'll be a stone and a half, 2 stone heavier than I am. Everyone has sacrifices to make in order to succeed. So once we're sitting there, we understand that what envy is and what it's not, and we can highlight why we're feeling envious. Then we can put a plan into action to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. Sometimes just highlighting it can be enough to dissipate. How silly is that, being envious of somebody else's life? Because here's the thing, right? It's just wasted energy. So instead of wasting that energy on focusing on someone else's what you haven't got and they have, why not focus on what you can achieve? So until next time.